Welcome to Her Fund Talks, the podcast where we do a deep dive into the world of gender-conscious investment and women-led innovation. I'm your host, Milena Stoicheva. I'm both an entrepreneur and an investor, and in each episode I will be sitting down with inspiring women founders and investors to explore how we can create a more inclusive, gender-equal startup and venture ecosystem. And today I have the pleasure to host a conversation with a great entrepreneur and founder, as well as someone who has insights into the business angel investment community, Elena Nikolova. I've known Elena for quite some time now, as we've both worked in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. But we are also very passionate about how to support women and investors to grow their impact in our communities. Elena is the co-founder of a company called Escreo, but she herself has been also very strong in advancing the role of business angels and business angels network to support startups and newly created companies. I hope that today we will shed some light on what it means to be both building these communities and also growing the impact for female-led founders. And let me start with one question, which I think would have some kind of impact both on you as a founder, but also on other female founders, to understand better what the investment landscape is and what drives investors to make these type of investments. How can the investment community better support women entrepreneurs, and how can, both in terms of funding and mentorship, we increase these opportunities?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Milena, for having this conversation. It's such a pleasure to speak about topics we are passionate about. It's a big question, and what I usually say to myself is that we all play a role and we all can build the puzzle by working towards creating a more developed startup ecosystem, but all of us have a role to play, and we, at the end of the day, working together can make our entrepreneurial ecosystem better and more inclusive. So I have personally been involved in the angel investing community by leading the biggest angel community in Bulgaria, Bulgarian Angels Club. So I believe that we can support angel investor and female entrepreneurs by investing more in female-led startups. It's such a simple question and simple answer at the end of the day. What I've heard a lot is that female founders at the end of the day don't need training, they need money. And by having more investors who invest in female-led startups or more diverse teams, I think this is the best way to support them. Of course, there are a lot of obstacles and challenges, and one of the reasons this doesn't happen is that, first of all, the investment community is mainly comprised of men. And there are a lot of reasons for that, of course, and I think there are positive change, but still, for example, in the angel community, only 10% of our members are women. So if we don't have a diverse group of investors, then it's very hard to invest in more diverse teams. So one of my mission is to attract more women to the investment world, and then I hope that it would have a positive impact on having more female-led startups and more investments happening in the female-led startups. One of the challenges I usually encounter working towards attracting more female to become angel investors is that actually more women, they want to become mentors, they want to help female-led startups, but they rarely invest. And I think this is on one side due to the fact that there is lack of information and access to knowledge that yes, investing in startups is risky, but still, if you have enough capital, you can diverse your portfolio and you can get the best out of those investments. So I think that women, I don't want to repeat the same stereotypes that women are less risk averse, etc. But I think there are a lot of cultural, societal, economic reasons for that. But still, women have such an economic power, and I think we need to attract them more into the investment world.
You actually answered very nicely. It led me to a comment I wanted to make is that, and maybe another question that I hear is on the one hand a result of women maybe not being so confident in making a step toward the investment, but I think it's in general a culture, and I was wondering whether it's a culture about using financial resources to actually grow who you are and being a leader in general in financial markets, also in this sector, in finance, in the economy, that could naturally lead to this. So is it a question also of stereotypes within our culture that we are women are not part of this sector? Or is it also another stereotype and culture that women in general don't make investments too much? So this could be one. Could you comment a little bit on this?
The short answer would be yes. I agree with you. I think it's really a very conscious and psychological challenge that we face, and it takes time to change. Stereotypes, prejudice, unbiased conscious, unbiases that we have working in startups and investment. I've heard there is this famous Harvard Business Review test to test your unconscious biases, and it's not that's why they call them unconscious, because usually we really don't know that we have them. Even men and women have them, and I think that we need to speak more about those and just have more open discussions and conversation in order to be more self-aware when we're taking decisions. So that also on one side. Yes, on the other side, I feel that generally speaking, money and in the investment world is kind of it's not that inclusive to women. And now more and more women founders, women investors are finding their voice in becoming role models, but still it's such a unknown environment for women. And I'm now currently in the US, and I see that all conversations regarding the underfunding of female-led startups starts with having more financial education to women, no matter whether they're investors or entrepreneurs. And what I hear is women need to be rich. Women need to have more seats in the boards of startups. There are some huge discrepancies when it comes to how many women take advantage of becoming part of startup boards and government boards, which is something that I have never thought about. And actually, then what the result of this is that women don't have advantage of having more opportunities to become rich, to have more economic power, and then actually having more decisions in what the politics and the decisions that are made in terms of what kind of businesses we want to see developed in the world. Because there are some research that show that women would develop more impact-oriented startups, that they would create more revenue, more jobs, and more return in investment for their investors. So there is actually huge potential in female-led startups, and we need to address that challenges.
Well, thank you for bringing also the topic about financial education, and it's about awareness and about education and growth and how we can explore more of this. And it all starts also with awareness and talking about it. So I think you made a very good point about it. Since you are also a founder, I was wondering if you can give me some example from your experience, personal, or from somebody else in your environment who had these obstacles in attracting funding and also working with investors. Were they showing any kind of maybe stereotypical behavior or prejudice or not? What could you share something on that topic?
Absolutely. Actually, as part of Fund Her project, I had the opportunity to speak with approximately 10, 12 female-led startups here in Bulgaria and trying to identify what are the most common challenges and obstacles they face. And one of the things that I heard from most of them was that usually investors were underestimating them because not only they were women, but because they were young. And for me, it's quite paradoxical because if you are in Silicon Valley and if you are a young guy who just left college and he's supposed to be super smart and genius, they would receive like a tap on the shoulder for being so risky, for going into the startup world, starting their own business. Whereas if you're a woman, because I spoke with a few who are really young, around 25, 26 years old, most of the investors look upon them and were challenged and were questioning their motivation and their readiness to start a business. So this is one that I've heard, and then another one is that there are a few misconceptions when working in hardware products or let's say building products or services in the manufacturing industry. And most of the people,
the ones that are related to manufacturing, engineering, yes. Interesting, though, maybe not so many in life sciences, is it?
No. Again, no. That's another topic we can discuss.
Yes.
But I wanted to just to mention another challenge here is that in most cases, these female entrepreneurs, they're working with men, they're partners, they are customers in most cases, strategic distributors, and then investors are men. And these women are facing unconscious bias on every level of the development of their startup. So, for example, one lady told me when she was in negotiation, this is something that we hear a lot of times, and she's with another colleague who is, he might be like a sales or marketing. Then the opposite side of the table would assume that the founder is the male. It's such a
it's almost like a given, right? It's so much imprinted in our mind and our head that it's almost like a given, not questioned at all.
Yeah. A lot of challenges that I've heard from founders, especially if they're first-time founders, is access to capital in terms of how to find those investors, how to approach them, how to structure the investment process. If you are a first-time founder, you don't know that it takes a lot of time. You don't know you have negotiation power. You don't know a lot of legalities around how to build a cap table, how to negotiate your valuation. So nobody knows anything about valuation. I don't think that there is such a creative process about how to pinpoint a number and everybody's going to be happy around it. And usually this is one of the reasons that a lot of negotiations fail and a lot of investments fail because nobody is prepared. Or let's say female startups, they need a lot of education. Not only them, actually everyone. But these are some of the common obstacles I hear from female-led startups here in Bulgaria.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. Do you think that there is a role, and what is the role that government policies and initiatives should play should play, excuse me, in fostering a more equitable investment landscape in the country?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, as part of Fund Her project, also one of the directions we are working towards is how to connect less connected ecosystem with more developed startup ecosystems. And I was wondering what is actually a less connected startup ecosystem. And in my opinion, this is the ecosystem where not all pillars of the ecosystem works towards creating more, let's say, innovative landscape in the specific.
Encouraging and nurturing, yeah.
Exactly. And in Bulgaria, I think government can have much more active role in fostering entrepreneurship. I think it's also connected with education. So fostering this entrepreneurial mindset since younger age and working with college students, university students, and then supporting with even financial support to giving financial support to some pre-accelerators or accelerators who can build the next generation of entrepreneurs. And you mentioned life sciences and what I see one of the challenges for female-led startups is that some of them focus, on fashion or on beauty, on some really feminine-oriented industries. And that's one of the challenges why some investors might say, well, this is not such an attractive business. But if you are building the next, if you're building in health tech, if you're building in biotech or in deep tech, you need laboratories, you need support from different stakeholders in the country. And I think government can lead that conversation, and also in terms of connection to other investors from abroad, right? This is not the I don't think that NGOs or female or the startups themselves need to build those bridges. Here, the government can help by attracting more investors to come in our country, by having some strategic partnerships. And we have some good examples with what Insight is doing, right? I mean, so I would like to see more of those initiatives happening, and not only in Sofia also. So our government can play a role in trying to give more opportunities for Bulgarians all around Bulgaria to have access to education, to have the opportunities to attend inspirational events so that they can start their entrepreneurial journey.
Well, I think you're making a good point that education plays a key role there. It's education, but it's also funding, and it's a question of public-private funding that needs to be mobilized in order to really give the push and the trigger and maybe launch some of these activities. And this reference, I think it's not just for Bulgaria, but it's for all of the less developed or less connected innovation ecosystem. The maturity comes from the fact that they are aware and they are consciously and deliberately making efforts to push in that direction. So this is a very good point, and I think we will continue exploring, especially with her fund project, how to learn to exchange best practices and learn better from what's out there, and how to transfer the knowledge and maybe excel in certain area, transfer this excellence from one area to another, and vice versa, with the more developed and less developed or lower connected and better connected ecosystem. Which leads me to one other question that I would like to ask you, which is a bit more personal. What was the thing that actually drove you first to is there something, a secret recipe or something that triggered in you the ambition? Because we've been talking also that it takes ambition for women to set up companies, to be founders, but also to choose to further explore this space for personal growth and professional development.
When I started, when we co-founded the company Escreu back in 2014 and 15, I remember that we went to a retreat of one of our investors, and there was a photo after the retreat, and I saw like 50 male and 3 female on that photo. And actually, I will never forget this photo. I wouldn't say that I purposefully was looking to become very vocal about female entrepreneurship in general. I think that it just happened because when I started, there were not that many female founders, and people. Yeah, yes, and people were just they asked me, "What is it to be a female founder? What is it to be a female founder?" And I have never thought about that before. And I just looked around myself in all these programs, in all these accelerators, in all these investors events. I've seen that they're male dominated. And I didn't want to say, well, this is it as it is, right? This is just a fact. This is the reality. No, I started to dig more and more. What are the reasons behind it? And it might be that women are not that confident in starting their businesses. It might be that women are more interested in other career choices or professional development. What I want to say and what I try to do in my work is to say if you are starting a business, I would like you to have the equal opportunities as the male counterparts. I would like you to be judged not by how you look, and it goes not only to gender, right? It goes to any kind of
It's about diversity as well. Yeah.
exactly.
Having
But
the equal opportunity.
exactly. I was just yesterday thinking about all those terms and etiquettes that we put specifically on women, and there are some researches that women are usually victims to such etiquettes much more than males. What I mean is that so if you are assertive, you are aggressive. If
If you're ambitious, you are too ambitious. If you are,
exactly.
okay.
Exactly. So I don't want women to be judged by the fact that they're women. I want them to have the equal opportunities to become successful as their male counterparts. And also I think that in general I'm passionate about promoting female entrepreneurship because I think that women um, together with men, if we build more diverse teams, not only female-led startups, not only male startups, they're much more successful. And I want them to tap in the opportunities of building products, building services, helping other people. And not just so they will have more opportunities for professional development, not less. And I want them to consider entrepreneurship also as a way of changing life and increasing your quality of life. Because I think in general, entrepreneurship skills help us have more richer life, so to say. And
Yes.
I want
Finding a
to know,
purpose. Yes.
yes, I think by entrepreneurship you can have much bigger chance in finding your purpose and living a meaningful life.
Yes. Thank you
It
so
became too
much.
philosophical.
Yes, yeah, but it's important also to put this all of these topics on a philosophical, personal level because they are very much intertwined. I appreciate also that you're touching upon a point that is I'm also passionate about. It's related to entrepreneurial behavior, and I think this is a way that we can develop really our full capacity if we uncover and untap this in all of us. It's something that we carry, that is natural. It's much more normal for us to be this way, but it takes time to acknowledge it and also to uncover it. Thank you, Elena. It's been a great conversation. I appreciate very much that we had this discussion. And this has been an episode of Her Fund podcast and talks that we are having every month. Thank you.